The infinite expanse of the void, once Kalen's canvas, now pulsed with a sentience that chilled his very essence. He, the weaver of the void, had sought to redefine existence, to birth a new cosmos from the ashes of the old. But this was no mere echo of Malum. This was the primal dark, an entity that predated the very concept of corruption, and it was aware of him. Its presence was a gnawing cold, a whisper of oblivion that clawed at the edges of his newfound power. Kalen felt it, a visceral dread that transcended his cosmic form. This ancient darkness was not a rival to be outmaneuvered, but a fundamental negation of his very purpose. It was the unmaking of the unmaker. He had gathered nascent voids, shaping them with his will, intending to weave them into a tapestry of a new reality. Now, that very tapestry seemed to unravel before his eyes, threatened by a force born from the void's deepest abyss. This entity, a being of pure, untamed dread, was not content with mere opposition. It sought to consume him, to erase the weaver and his dreams of a rewritten existence. Kalen recoiled, his cosmic energy flaring in an involuntary surge of self-preservation. He had faced oblivion, he had embraced the void, but he had never felt this profound sense of being hunted. The whispers grew louder, coalescing into a symphony of ancient hunger. He sensed its immense power, a power that dwarfed even his own, a power that did not seek to create or destroy, but simply to be, in its own terrifying, consuming way. The weaver of the void, the architect of unmaking, found himself thrust into the role of defender. His domain was under siege, not by a chaotic force, but by a singular, malevolent consciousness. He gathered his nascent voids, not to sculpt, but to shield. He twisted the fabric of reality around himself, a desperate gambit to create a bulwark against this encroaching dread. He saw visions, fleeting glimpses of the entity's true form, a churning nebula of pure shadow, its edges bleeding into non-existence. It was a reflection of the void itself, but alive, and filled with a hatred for all that was. He understood then. This was not a battle for dominance, but a fight for the very soul of existence. If this ancient darkness prevailed, all would return to an unthinking, unfeeling void, a sterile nothingness devoid of even the potential for life or change. His own existence, his grand design, was but a momentary flicker against its eternal, crushing presence. He channeled more energy, his cosmic form shimmering with the strain. He could feel the ancient darkness probing, testing his defenses, its touch like the bite of 1,000 frozen stars. He had to find a way to fight back, to strike at the heart of this primordial threat. But how does one fight a force that is the absence of everything? As his defenses began to buckle, a sudden, chilling insight pierced through the chaos. He saw not a weakness, but a source. The ancient dread was not merely a being within the void, it was intrinsically linked to it, perhaps even its very genesis. And if it was born of the void, perhaps, just perhaps, it could also be undone by it. He focused his will, not on shielding, but on manipulating the void itself, on coaxing its inherent chaos to turn against its own offspring. It was a dangerous gamble, a betrayal of the very principles he had come to embody. But the alternative was unthinkable. He felt a surge of raw power, the void responding to his command, its immense, unmaking potential turned inward. A tear appeared in the fabric of reality, not a gateway, but a wound, bleeding pure, unadulterated void. From this wound, he felt a flicker of the ancient darkness's true power, a terrifying echo that resonated through his very core. He had opened a door, but to what? Was this the beginning of his victory, or the prelude to his ultimate destruction? He saw a faint, spectral light emerging from the tear, a light that seemed to absorb the surrounding darkness. It was a beacon of utter negation, a sight that filled him with a dread far surpassing even that of the ancient entity. What had he unleashed?